Good morning and welcome to Live with Lewis for the 1st of September 2005. We're broadcasting to you today from the Darby Consolidated Schools in Darby, Montana. We're back in Montana. We've been in Idaho for the last several weeks after having passed over Lemhi. We're going to be getting some archived footage up to you. We've had a little bit of a break here right prior to the reconvening of the school year. We want to welcome all the teachers and students across the country who have been joining us for the Lewis and Clark Then and Now broadcasts over the last several years. Welcome back. We hope that the start to the new school year is a fun and exciting one for all the students across the country and around the world, and all of those watching us by the internet. I want to remind everyone that you can send your email questions to us today at lewisandclark@clayton.k12.mo.us. That's Lewis and Clark, LEWISANDCLARK, all one word, at Clayton, CLAYTON.K12.mo.us. And if you're watching on the internet today, you'll be able to see that address is displayed there on the home page as well. We look forward to your questions and comments. We're excited about being able to answer questions for you and show you the footage. We're going to sort of bring ourselves up to speed, as it were, and get back on track with you all and our broadcasts within the time frame of the original journals. So you're going to be seeing footage today that will take you, as the opening slides indicated, from Salmon, Idaho, the Salmon, Idaho area, the Lemhi Valley, where Lewis and Clark met the Shoshone Indians 200 years ago, up toward, that's moving north, down the Salmon River to where the North Fork of the Salmon and the main fork of the Salmon split, and starting up the North Fork. We're about to ascend and cross over in the next couple of days Lost Trail Pass, and that's the way the original expedition would have been moving at this point. So you're going to see some great footage today. You'll hear some excerpts of some interviews that we did along the trail with many of the folks who helped us out and have been riding with us. We've been riding for about a week now, actually a little longer than that. We rode over Lemhi, and we're going to have that footage archived for you, down into the Lemhi Valley. And then, as the original expedition did, we got our horses ready and we've started to move toward Lost Trail. We're in Darby, Montana, but technically the expedition is still on the other side of the pass. So technically, historically speaking, we're still in Idaho, although those are artificial borders. And we want to just show you some of the spectacular footage as we go from the barren western Montana type landscape with the sagebrush. We start to enter into the mountainous, rugged mountainous areas as we move up toward the Continental Divide, moving up north into the Bitterroot Valley. You'll see a lot of pine trees, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Again, send your email questions and comments to us at lewisandclark@clayton.k12.mo.us, and we hope that you enjoy today's broadcast, and we'll get those archived footage up of the last couple of weeks that you may have missed in no time, and we'll have those up for you. We appreciate you joining us again for today's broadcast, the 1st of September of 2005, and we hope that you'll enjoy today's broadcast and the footage that we're able to share with you as you join us for the Lewis and Clark Trail. It is the morning of the 25th of August 2005, and we are preparing to start the horse phase for real now. We brought horses over Lemhi last week, and we spent a week here getting horses ready. This is a Greenbroke horse right here. It's going to be her first outing. And this will be the pack horse. This horse is from the Ward Woody and Jay Rotkin here getting this pack horse ready. This horse was just broke this week, and it's from the Medicine Horse Ranch here, where we saw the footage the other day from the bison and buffalo here. And there's Buck, of course. Yeah, this good old girl will be acting as a pack horse. She's a young horse.
Her name's Purdy Girl.
Purdy Girl. Ward doesn't name his horses. He says he's never named anything you might have to eat. But Jay's going to be kind of responsible for this horse. We all are, but he'll be using Buck as the lead horse to pony this horse along and carry the gear. And as you can see, this horse is set up with a pack saddle. And we'll see a little bit more of this in just a little while. And it is the morning of the 25th of August, and could you tell us your name, Marcella?
Marcella.
What's
Marcella Hendricks.
Marcella Hendricks is
from Salmon, Idaho.
and she's going to be one of our guides this morning. And there we are with Celeste Bingham. And Celeste is going to help us get over the hill today as well. And as you can see, as always, the non-traditional approach that we've taken here, and all else fails, we cinched her up.
It's going to be a great day.
And there's Ward. Ward's got those fancy boots. He's put on his blue boots. We know we're in trouble now.
They know how to use off the road. You're not going to hobble out.
Yeah, right.
25 August 2005. We're headed to Lost Trail. Come on. Come on. What you see here is us ascending out of the Salmon Valley, Lemhi Valley, crossing into the Salmon Valley. This is the Red Rock area. This is where Lewis and Clark would have realized they had more impediments than they originally anticipated.
It's too much for her, huh? It's got to go a lot slower.
There's a lot of smoke obscuring the view. As you can see, many fires burning in this area right now.
Isn't that beautiful? Look out back across the
Absolutely
hill.
gorgeous.
See, this is where we're going up and down the hill, going over the path. Water is an issue here for both horses and men. And these are the towers that Lewis and Clark speak of. Whoa. Here we are on the 25th at the BLM campsite. And there's the tower. The pyramids that...
You know, you take it to somebody who knows what they're doing. That's a digital.
Yeah,
They can erase that right out of it.
yeah. Take the power line out.
Bison, you're gonna have to learn how to stay. Out, Bison, out. Out.
Filming. Good, of course. It really is almost like the white clothes, so that's so white. Allowed even, you got to float by. Of course, we're the only fools dragging them upriver.
Wilderness?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Rattlesnake about every 100 yards.
Yep. Yeah, they were all over.
Okay, girl. Hey, you see what's in front of you?
Yeah, grass.
Yeah, I know.
Let me eat. I'm hungry.
We've been joined now by Bill Burns, so we've got 3 of our local guides here this morning. Bill and Celeste and Marcella. And heading on up now Tower Creek. Old stage road, is that right?
Yeah, it came down here and went right on down to the river. And we're pretty close, not exactly on the current road, because the current road's been shifted back, pushed back a time or two, but one of the campsites was far in there, and then later on that trail turned into a road, and a lot of those old early trails did, and this became the stage road. They they had too many river crossings and fords from Tower Creek on down to North Fork to have the road along the river for many, many years. So this was the old route from Salmon down to Shoot. So there would have been, you can let your imagination run, and there were stagecoaches carrying gold bars from those mines down to rattle down this road. So after they got the road along the river though, then this route was abandoned.
Down here is believed to be campsite. We are ahead of schedule here because of the horses. We are taking some extra time to allow for any eventuality that may occur because of moving horses, but you can see down there why they would have chosen that as a camp area before they ascended these hills. Probably the campsite there for the night of the 31st. So we're not quite a week ahead, but getting pretty close. Just trying to give ourselves some a little bit of time in the event that we have an issue between now and arriving at Lolo. And here we are. We are on the trail. And this is right along the way Lewis and Clark went. In fact, we're going to go over there, and that's the way they went through the end of 4th of July Creek. And so, for all you people watching on the internet, welcome to the Lewis and Clark Trail. It is the morning of the 26th of August 2005. I'm walking my horse. He's having trouble. Got a bad leg. Bison got stepped on yesterday. He's kind of goofed up. The other horses are kind of having some problems. It's a long trip, especially hard on the horses. And unlike our predecessors, we do not have the luxury of having as many horses, so got to take care of these. It is the morning of the 26th of August, 2005, and we are leaving the 4th of July Creek area, coming up Little 4th of July. We started right down there this morning in that valley there, and we are making our way now over toward Wagon Hammer, which is where the confluence of Time and Courage filmed there, and as you can see on the distant hillside, that's where we came down yesterday. Over there, that's the house that Muriel Hemingway built over there, and in that area we came down that pass right there. And we are on the Lewis and Clark Trail here. Again, the 26th of August 2005, and we are going that way. This is the Wagon Hammer Valley over here. And this is the valley of Little Fourth here. we just came up from down in that area.
They doing pretty good. They doing pretty good. Doing pretty well there. That thing's hanging on good now.
That's where we came down yesterday.
Bison's a big fat monkey. You just can't believe that it's so far between water.
Okay.
Usually
We'll hit water in the bottom of the wagon hammer.
Did you say, now you were telling us about Hank Williams Jr. had a ranch up here?
Yeah, we believe for a couple, actually 3 different reasons that Lewis and Clark went up the bottom of Little Fourth, went out the top of a saddle over there, and down through a place called the Old Indian Trail.
Huh.
The name, the Old Indian Trail, is one of the reasons we believe that. Plus, that's the best way through the country. But when they laid out the trail, they did it with 2 considerations. One, efficiency in getting around private land and staying as close as they could. So on this side of the mountain is the marked Lewis and Clark Trail. We believe that Lewis and Clark actually went to the east up the bottom of Little 4th of July Creek, and then up through a saddle that's actually lower than this saddle, down a straight Indian Trail down to the Wagon Hammer stream. And from there, we head west down Wagon Hammer and over to Thompson Gulch, which is for sure where they went. Another reason was we brought some of the people with the journals. They took their equipment that Lewis and Clark used, and they said they believed that was the route that they took, and also because it's the easiest way through the country, down through the bottom of Little Fork.
The sound of horse grazing back there.
Again, water is a predominant issue here for us, both for the horses, the dog, and of course ourselves. We were actually forced to drink out of streams for several days up here, and we're still hoping to have eluded the giardia,
Fire.
or beaver fever concern.
That's what the taser is about.
What's that?
There's a fire somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, they.
You can see the how much smoke is covering the valley. The fires continue to burn here, have been for several months now, and this is an annual event, but something that's quite cause for concern as this area becomes more and more populated.
How you doing? Here we are, coming down Wagon Hammer, and as you can see, the countryside looks like here. We are currently on the pass known as Thompson Gulch, and it is a old Indian road through here. And as you can see, this was the best option, and it's pretty rough going through here. So haven't seen anybody else on the trail today. And here we are coming from Burns Gulch, Burns Basin, and we're headed over toward Big Silverlead, and then we'll go to Little Silverlead. And as you can see, this is the country that we passed today. And again, it's really something, and it's a pleasure to be out here, and I want to thank all the folks who've helped to make this possible, and it's a pleasure to be the only reenactors out here. It's quite an honor.
I want to thank Arnie Vetris, our guide here that you see featured in this segment.
And up there is the Sheep Creek Road. That's the old logging road that leads to Sheep Creek, which was where we were trying to get to. We were going to try and get there today. That's an unlikely scenario. But we're headed in that direction. But we're going to go through this way right here. This is the Lewis and Clark Trail. Much of it is even as they would have seen it. The little silver lead is in that little, on the other side of that ridge. And this is the big silver lead, and that's what we're looking for right there. And I don't know if you can see it, but that's water there. That's what we're after right there.
And this was the spring head for the big silver lead, and we did take water there.
It is the evening of the 26th of August, and maybe a Clark nutcracker up there. We'll try to get a shot of that. And Churchill Clark, Jay Rodkin here in the Salmon Forest. This is U.S. forest land here above Salmon. Approaching the Lost Trail Pass. We're currently in the big silverlead drainage, and the little silverlead drainage is on the other side of this ridge here to the west-southwest of us. And this is the head of a spring. This is a cow mire down in here, but we're just above where there's been activity recently. We've been able to take water out of this spring head here, and we're hoping for the best with regard to Giardia, which is a problem in this area, but fortunately most of the people and the information we've been able to gain is that there are few beaver or mink running in this area, so we hope that the chances of Giardia will be minimized, and here you can see the hill we came down, descending into the big silver lead, and the horses there we're getting them ready for the night, and that's Buck there. And that's the buckskin from the John Hill Ruby Garnet Mines over in Alder, Montana. And there you see a pretty girl from the Medicine Horse Ranch owned by Ward Whitty from Salmon. And there in the background, Lady, also from John Hill in Alder, Montana. And there is Whiskey, also from John Hill in Alder, Montana. And all the horses are doing very well. We're going to have them here tonight, and we'll take off tomorrow after we get more water from this stream, this spring head here, and go right up there, up the big silver lead, on up the road that will lead us over to Sheep Creek. And we'll be headed on toward the Lost Trail Pass. This is the 26th of August 2005. It is the morning of the 27th of August 2005. We've crossed over a summit here that goes from the big silver lead drainage over there to over here on the little silver lead drainage. And we're going to be working our way down into this draw down here and up over that saddle you see in the distance and work our way up towards Sheep Creek. This was a pretty arduous climb. You can see Private Fraser still making his way up with 2 horses, and it is a spectacular day in the Beaverhead Range of the Rocky Mountains here above Salmon, Idaho, and below Lost Trail Pass. Once again, today is the 27th of August 2005, and we're a couple of days ahead of the original journals, but welcome to the Lewis and Clark Trail, brought to you by 3 men and a dog. Filming. And here we are, 27 August, on the Lewis and Clark Trail. And you can see us moving down through these pines, and that's where we're headed, through that pass. We are at the the little silver lead drainage, and we're headed up to the top of it. And as you can see, this has become a remarkably wooded area. Pines are everywhere down. These, as you can see, have been cleared, and there's still cows grazing in this area. This is open range land here, and it is quite a sight. The lightning strikes and all have obviously taken their toll on this area. There was sign of fire back before here, but it doesn't look like this has been ravaged too much. But as you can see, the beetle kill, the bug kills there in the trees, and a lot of these trees need to be thinned out, and that's a real fire waiting to happen sort of situation, so I need to be aware as well. 27th of August 2005. This is a place we're having to cross a tree that's down across the trail. As you can see, this is where we're going. It's a pretty steep ascent, but it's better than the alternative. And just had to come around. It's pretty tough going right here. Tree across the trail, and we're going to bring the other 2 horses up one at a time.
That's Sheep's Creek here.
Yeah. Yeah, this goes all the way around. This goes all the way around. We're on the road now trying to get to Sheep Creek. And this is an old logging road up here. And as you can see, the haze in the distance is obscuring what would normally be an even more spectacular view. But nonetheless, it is indeed spectacular, as it is. And there in the distance, you can see where we're headed. The Continental Divide and actually Lost Trail Pass is right up there.
For all of you concerned about Bison, he's been doing very well along the trail. He did have a little injury to his back left foot, but he seems to recover nicely.
The sign says, leaving motor travel, restricted area. You really have to be on something besides a car here. That's where we came from, and there's where we're going. You can see the large number of trees that are down there, and this is an area that's experienced fire and probably will again. Other side. It is the morning of the 28th of August 2005, and we are headed up Gibbonsville Road. We came down Sheep Creek Road out of Thompson Gulch last evening and made our way back down to 93, got fresh water and food there from some locals at the Broken Arrow in Gibbonsville, and we have now started to ascend Gibbonsville Road. This is where we'll actually be going up tomorrow. We're going to rest the horses here yet today and let them sort of rejuvenate, and ourselves as well. And this road here will probably be the road we'll be ascending tomorrow. We're still going to determine that. Try to stay close to the original trail as well as they are on the side of safety for the animals. And as you can see, that's an old logging road that is now closed to through traffic. This is the 28th of August 2005, and we are nearing Lost Trail Pass. It is about 12 miles above us to the north. Again, the 28th of August 2005, and the journals record similar phenomena, but here we are on a day it's heating up. It's supposed to be 90 degrees today, and you see the haze from the smoke and the heat and all. 90 degrees today, and we're anticipating an overnight low of about 35. So about a 55 degree swing in the temperature just in that one day. As you see, there's a tremendous amount of, it's hard to see right here, but up right there you can see dead trees. These trees are being killed by beetles, and they are really a problem, and they bode ill for the forest, because not only is the insects having tremendous impact, but the potential for fire is greatly heightened here. In fact, last night we met a number of Mexican temporary workers that are hired by the United States government as subcontractors from Mexico, and oddly enough, it seems like there might be some jobs for Americans there, but these folks come up and they go in and clear the dead trees out. It's kind of a strange deal, because some of this locals aren't allowed to cut, but they bring Mexicans in and pay them to do it. So it's kind of a strange thing, and maybe something that people aren't aware of. And it's curious, as we have people on the border trying to stop illegal immigration, and these folks are coming up, and they're all hard-working, good folks, but it is kind of a contradiction. Of course, we are used to contradictions along the trail.
Well, welcome back, and that's the footage from the last week or so as we've started to move our way from Salmon, Idaho, up toward Lost Trail. As I mentioned, tomorrow we will actually begin our ascent of Anderson Mountain up toward the Lost Trail Pass, passing over on the 3rd as the original expedition did historically. One of the interesting things about this, and I mentioned it during the B-roll there, during the footage you saw, is that we did leave the Salmon area a little bit before the original expedition. They left there with a string of horses, and when they had problems with the horses, they were able to switch horses, to lighten the load, shift the load. When they got over the pass, they actually met with the Salish Indians down near what is known as Ross Hole, and they had some horses that were lamed up by that time, and they were able to trade horses with the Salish people, or what you might know as the Flathead. They prefer Salish, and get some new horses. We do not have that luxury, and so we did leave several days in advance in order to anticipate some sort of a problem, and we've had some problems. We did have a horse that had a sore leg. We threw a shoe on another horse, and these are issues that Lewis and Clark would not have had to deal with, and yet we are. You might remember in the journals, if you're a student of the journals, that they recorded the fact that the mules were worth the worst mule was worth 2 horses. And even some of the outfitters that we've met up here who travel this country regularly talk about the fact that the mules rarely, in fact, they don't even always shoe the mules. it's important to understand when we talk about shoes, throwing a shoe or something like that, that the horses do have iron shoes on. This countryside that we're moving through, even when you see these gravel roads, it's all granite rock up here. It's very, very hard. It takes its toll not only on the horses' hooves, but on our feet as well. And it really is hard going. Of course, the original expedition endured these very same hardships. And you might remember that Clark went down and took a look at the main fork of the Salmon River, and he decided not to go that way. And that's when he and Meriwether Lewis made their collective decision that horses were the way. They were going to move by land rather than trying to get onto the Salmon River. We had an opportunity to look at the salmon also, and that footage will be archived here shortly with some of the things that we've missed over the last couple of weeks. Again, we want to welcome everyone back to our regular school year programming, and we'll be continuing video conferences and that sort of thing. I'd like to very quickly go to the Cooperating School District in St. Louis and ask those folks there if they have any email questions or comments for us today. Tim?
Hi, Scott. It's good to see you up there. I've got a couple of questions for you. Some people asking about the horses themselves, like what kind of horses do you have, and how did you guys actually obtain the horses?
Well, that's a great question. One of the things that we've been committed to this year is trying to follow the journals and let the story unfold much the way it did for the original expedition. And we have, the horses we have are quarter horses for the most part. The pack horse you saw is actually a paint, and we're going to be getting another paint also. It was kind of we jokingly said the other day, it looked like we had the My Little Pony collection there. We've got we had a bay and a buckskin and a palomino. Those were all quarter horses. And the white horse you saw, there's actually a paint horse from the Medicine Horse Ranch, and we're going to be getting another horse from that ranch, from Ward Woody's ranch there in Salmon. I did want to make sure also, there was a gentleman who was talking to us. You saw in the footage there the last fellow who was traveling with us. His name was Arnie Vetras, and I just wanted to thank Arnie, who's been very helpful. And a lot of the issues that we had to deal with were private land issues moving here. There is a real effort. We want to thank Richard and Jenny Smith also, and Avery Williams, and all the folks at the A to Z feed and tax store there in Salmon. All of these folks have helped us. As we made our way down, we walked originally, and this will be in some of our archive footage, like Lewis did on the 12th of August. We walked over Lemhi Pass on foot. And we did not have horses secured at that point, and we were trying to figure out exactly how we were going to go about getting horses as well. And through a series of conversations with friends and acquaintances that we have made along the trail, people knew that we were doing this, and they've been very appreciative. Many of them on the Montana side had actually seen us struggling the last 50 or 100 miles up the Beaverhead and Jefferson River parallel the road there, and they had actually seen us drawing our dugout day by day up that river as they drove back and forth. Word spread, and a gentleman by the name of John Hill, and we've got an interview with him at the Ruby Garnet Ranch in one of our archive shows that'll be up shortly. John Hill came forward, he's got 3 horses for you. And we got over the hill, we walked over the hill. The folks on this side heard we needed a pack horse, and they provided us a pack horse. And they've been helping us all along. People like Richard Smith, who's with and a lot of these folks are with what's called the Backcountry Horsemen's Association. And these are folks who nationwide do backcountry as pleasure. They do backcountry horse riding. They're very active in this area. They've been helping us negotiate between the public and private lands, because that is a key issue here in the West. And we want to respect the private landowners as well as take advantage and capitalize on all the beautiful public lands that are available for travel and recreation here as well. So the folks with the U.S. Forest Service out here with the Salmon Shallot Forest, and here we're getting into the Bitterroot and Clearwater area. Forest Service has just maintained some of these areas beautifully. They went in and cleaned the areas out. The horses are doing great. Anyway, I know that was an extended answer there, but that's how we got the horses, and we're going to be getting more horses in like manner along the way. There's a number of people who are committed to helping us up the river.
And then there's a question concerning weather. You seem to be dressed a little warmly today. What's it getting to be like up there in Montana and Idaho?
Well, that's an interesting thing. You may have heard me mention there the other day we had 90 degrees during the day and we had 35 at night. And so this necessitates us, as we're traveling by horseback, it necessitates us carrying quite a good amount of gear, because in the daytime we have to shed evening, we need everything we can. The temperature overall is dropping. We're getting into fall, and they certainly recognize the fall season coming on here. And but one of the things we're doing is we're trying to layer as many clothes as we can and wear them, because that's easier than actually tying them onto the horses and that sort of thing. It is getting quite cold. Actually, last night and the night before, we actually were at freezing. There was frost, and there was anywhere there was standing water, there was a glaze of ice on it. So it's getting quite cold.
And the pictures that of the video footage were just breathtaking. Beautiful location there. What's the terrain like? Is it exceptionally rocky for the most part as you're traveling with the horses? Are we talking granite type of rock? What kind of terrain are we dealing with?
Right, it is. It's extremely obviously we're in the Rocky Mountains, and and it's extremely arduous going. When you see a trail and it looks like a gravel trail, it's important to understand that for those of us who are back in the Midwest, we might see that and think of what we're used to, like a limestone trail. The limestone is a soft rock. It's a sedimentary rock. This is granite. It is extremely hard. It does not give. When you see crushed rock, this is rock that has been crushed over millennia. This is not something that they have down at the granite rock crushing factory and they bring up and make the trails with. These are trails that are literally thousands of years old that we're traveling on. And it's important, I think, for us to understand. We've talked a great deal about this. We keep using the phrase, we talk about Lewis and Clark, and that this Bicentennial is about Lewis and Clark. We talk about the Lewis and Clark Trail. And I think one of the things that we're discovering out here with the physical trail is that the Lewis and Clark Trail is a series of connected roads, most of which pre-existed long before Europeans and others came to this country. As you may have seen in several of those roads we were traveling in today's footage, those roads have been traveled by native peoples for literally thousands of years. And so when you see these, and by game as well, game and human activity, so you're seeing these very, very hard trails that are literally cut on the side of these mountains. There is very little topsoil here. Whether you're on, and something you'll notice is on some of the mountains, you'll see on one side of the mountain, it is a barren hillside. It's usually with a southern exposure, and you'll have sage growing on those sides and grasses, low-growing grasses, very few trees. They get a lot of sunlight, but they don't get much moisture there. Even the snow that they get in the winter melts off very quickly. On the north side, where they don't get as much sunlight, their snowpack remains longer. It's a wetter environment. And just a matter of feet, once you cross over a ridgeline, you'll have a pine forest. Again, though, and there are some deciduous growth there. You'll find some low-growing fruits and berries and that sort of thing. We have entered into an area that is probably the most concerning to us of all to this point with regard to natural predators. We are in an area right now where bears are common, large mountain lions are common, and although we are traveling with horses and a dog, and that's as a group, and that helps to sort of keep the predatory animals at bay. One of the things we are concerned about, we're getting into an area that it has a lot of elk here, and because of it, much more elk than was here when Lewis and Clark came by. These elk have been reintroduced to this area, and because of that, the wolf packs are returning. The wolves have been returning here as well, and we are being very, very careful of that because the wolves are very aggressive in this area, and so at night we are very careful to be aware of the environment that we create in our camps. We are camping out in the mountains, and we have heard several nights, we've heard the wolf packs just the last few nights, and they have been relatively close to us, and we're very concerned, obviously, with the dog, not letting the dog be drawn out of the camp, or even for the three of us as we move along, that none of us are alone on the trail, as it were. It is a true wilderness we're into at this point, and we're seeing the trail much as Lewis and Clark did.
Well, thanks, Scott. That's the questions we've got from here. It looks like it's been a very laborious but exciting last week for you, a few weeks, so I'll turn it back to you for however you want to close the program and things about coming up programs.
Well, thanks very much, and I'll tell you, we're just, at this point, we're simply trying to document this portion of the trail. It's an area that very few people will ever actually get to see. This backcountry is very difficult to get to. even the part of Montana and Idaho we're in right now, even the main roads and getting to the established communities here is not an easy thing. And so we're just happy to be able to do that. One of the things that was kind of funny is about 3 weeks ago, as we were dragging the 220-pound cottonwood canoe up the last bits of water on the western side or the eastern side of the pass there, we were reading the journals and sympathizing with the lamentation we found there about we've got to get horses, we've got to get horses. They had had it with pulling the canoe. I can tell you after a couple of weeks now of moving the horses, and you see this reflected in the journals as well, this is hard going here, and they were excited about the prospect of getting back to water. And as I mentioned, we're going to be putting some archived footage from the last couple of weeks up, and you'll see as we cross Lemhi Pass, the very end of the water on the eastern side, where literally we get to the Sacagawea Spring at the top of Lemhi Pass, and there is just the furthest, what's referred to as the furthest fountain of the Missouri River. And then as we come over, the water on the Idaho side just becomes much more, there's much more water, it's heading downstream. And just like the original expedition, we are starting to get a sense of excitement and anticipation about getting back to a body of water that we can continue this trek on via canoe. And remember again, the point of the exercise 200 years ago was to find a water route. And so it's been hard going, and we are excited about getting back to water. And we hope to be able to bring these images to you over the next few weeks as we continue the horse ride up and over Lolo. You mentioned the weather. It is getting very cold. We are concerned, quite literally. We still have to pass tomorrow and the next couple of days over Lost Trail, which we talked about. We were headed in that direction. We still have to cross Lost Trail, and we'll still have to go over Lolo. These are relatively high elevations. We do anticipate snow. There are snow warnings, and we are concerned for our own health and well-being, and we're going to try and err on the side of safety, but we're going to try and be in these locations at the right time and bring the good, the bad, and the ugly all to you via the internet in this. So we hope that it's been helpful and informative. And I guess until we see you next time, Tim and Jim, thank you. We'll be on the I guess the 15th will be our next broadcast. We'll be coming to you from Powell Ranger Station as our anticipated broadcast location, which is about 7 miles on the western side of Lolo Pass. And we'll get over there. We'll be on our final descent, as it were, toward the Pacific Ocean once we make that crossing. And from the Powell Ranger Station, that's the area known as Colt-Killed Creek, or that's where they killed the colt that they ate when they were suffering from the weather up there. We're going to try to avoid that and try to maybe get ourselves a hamburger or something over there. But we'll bring that to you. In our video conference from that location, we'll be dealing with medicine in the expedition. We're hoping to be joined by Dr. Peck, of course, who's well known in the Lewis and Clark community for his knowledge of the medicine of the expedition, as well as hopefully a representative of the Native community to talk about sort of the Native medical practices as well. So thank you, Tim. Thank you, Jim. I want to thank everybody. There are so many people in the Salmon and Lemhi River valleys to thank. I just want to tell folks that if you get to this part of the country and you can make your way out to Salmon, Idaho, a most hospitable community, especially thanks to the folks at the Wagons West Hotel, which sort of acted as a headquarters for us while we were in Salmon, and to Clint Roselle and Gloria and Erica and Jessica, their girls there who were great hosts to us. And just want to thank everybody from that area as well. Thanks again to the folks here at the Darby Consolidated School, and we want to thank everyone who continues to make these broadcasts possible. And we're going to show those folks to you by their names as we play our final and closing credits. Until we see you next time, welcome back to school, kids. Enjoy your fall semester, and we proceed on along the Lewis and Clark Trail.